Okay, hello everyone. My name is Bill Flournoy. I'm the chair of the Economic and Development Committee, Employment. I'm calling the meeting to order, and the recording, as just been announced, has begun. This meeting of the Economic Development and Employment Committee of the Brooklyn Community Board 2 is called to order and being recorded. Okay, excuse me one second. In accordance to New York state open meeting laws. It is the practice of CB2 to conduct remote meetings with all committee members' cameras on. Public attendees are also encouraged to leave their cameras on, particularly if you're given the floor to speak. All attendees, please keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking. To maintain appropriate discussion and voting process, I will make it known when and which topics are open for comment by committee members, by board members at large, and then the general public. If you have a question that falls outside of the public comment time, please type your questions in the chat panel and we will address them as time permits. You may also email the district office at any time outside of these meetings. We are committed to provide access to all of our neighbors, regardless of physical ability or limitations. If you require accommodation or assistance for full participation, please contact the board office 72 hours before any public meeting. We ask that those speaking or participating or presenting use plain language and speak at a moderate pace. If presenting, read the title of every slide and describe any images on the slide, such as photos, graphs, and charts. With that, I'm going to ask, the committee secretary to now conduct roll call. Kate, are you able to do that?
Yes, no problem. We have Chair Bill Flournoy.
Here.
Vice Chair Denise Peterson.
I don't see
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I see you, Denise.
Oh, there you are. Sorry, Denise.
Ronald Cohen. Glad you're feeling better, Ron.
Thank you.
Lindsay Einhorn. Oleg Geiser.
Here.
Hey, Oleg.
Here.
Latrell Masso.
Here.
I see you, Latrell. Ciro Scala.
Here.
Hi there.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Kate Yearwood Young. And Maisha Morales.
Here.
Hi, Maisha. I see you. Okay, that is roll call.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, I will accept the approval of the agenda. Ms. Peterson, I may have a second.
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 Okay, Mr. Cohen. Okay. Anyone who opposes the agenda? Okay, no one opposes. I hope everyone got a chance to read the minutes from December 2021. Okay, once again, we had an excellent job by our secretary, Kate. Thank you once again, Kate. You always do an awesome job. I appreciate that. Are there any corrections?
Thanks.
Oh, no, thank you, Kate. Any corrections for the minutes? Okay, if there are any that you find later on, please send it to the board office and they'll take care of it. Okay. Next on the agenda is the Brooklyn Community District Unemployment and Business Data Updates. I took a look at the current updates. Okay, Ms. Yearwood Young has just joined the meeting. Okay, and what I noticed, the unemployment for Kings County is actually going down. Okay, we're now down to 8.2% unemployment. Later on, what I'll do is I'll start breaking out the numbers to districts if I can. But currently right now, I can actually get it down to just Kings County. And so far as for November, December hasn't come out yet. When December comes out, I'll announce that in February for December and January if possible. Okay, but it looks like the numbers are going down. I'd like to break it out a little bit more to see exactly which categories are being the least or most affected by the current status of COVID and other situations. Okay. With that, on agenda item number 6, we have a presentation for the Grow Brooklyn. Okay, that will be done by Dan Hogel, the District of Outreach and Community Partnerships. Dan, the floor is now yours.
Everybody, like I said before, we hit record. I spent a lot of time when I first moved out to New York City in 2014 at community board meetings. So I appreciate all of the long hours and hard work you guys put into it. It's coming from upstate, the community board meetings definitely were, it seemed familiar having people come around and talk about ways to improve their neighborhood and make it a little bit more livable. So my work as an organizer has always been really close to the community board. So when I came on with Grow Brooklyn, which I'll start to talk about here in a minute, the community board network was one of the first places I wanted to bring to talk about the work that Grow Brooklyn's doing, because I know the role you guys play in your community. So Grow Brooklyn is a nonprofit arm of the Brooklyn Federal Cooperative Credit Union. Get the history right, they started, it was back in 2007 to assist low income and minority neighborhoods of Brooklyn to help improve their economic mobility and start to build generational wealth and address some of the systemic issues that the borough had seen. So they started with offering free tax preparation and housing counseling, direct legal services, and a bunch of stuff like that. So as they said, some of it is low cost. A lot of our programming is free. And I wanted to, talk about some of the issues that we handle for folks and see about, how best we can start integrating, the work that we're doing to the work that, you guys are doing, specifically this particular committee. So I mentioned the free tax preparation. So over the course of the program, they've processed over like $4 million worth of tax returns. So that'll be the easiest way for us to come in, especially during COVID. It's tough to do in person. So we are going to have remote options set up, but we've got a bunch of them throughout Brooklyn where they want to come in person. There's, safe protocols for them to be able to book appointments. We also have locations where it'll just be like drop off and pick up. So you schedule an appointment to drop your stuff off. You'll meet the tax preparer. He'll review the documents. You'll part your separate ways, and then there'll be a pickup operation where you come and pick up the return and the receipt and all the documents back. And then lastly, for some in the Lower East Side, we're working with a community partner role to be fully remote, or sort of be a virtual situation like this, where you're on with the tax preparer and sort of a guided, tax prep thing, just to make sure that things are taken care of. There are some loose income restrictions there for an individual. It's like 60 to 80,000, but as long as it's a simple return, they do have some flexibility. So don't be shy about when the appointment portal goes live, referring folks. Some of the other programming we've done, and it actually happened just before I came on board, I would have joined myself, is we held a webinar presentation dealing with student loans, whether or not it was right around when whether the payments were going to be continued deferred or not. Now they're pushed till May. So all the different processes for loan forgiveness and strategic ways to go and tackle that type of debt for different populations. We've got a bunch of presentations coming up with senior centers around Brooklyn and Queens. One focused on how to avoid a lot of the really aggressive financial scams and fraudulent attacks that seniors get hit with constantly. Sort of an update on what they can do to protect themselves. Other more like legal centric stuff, like talking about the importance of having a living will and what a healthcare proxy is, and how to go about securing their situation as they move forward. And we also do a lot of counseling for homeowners, first-time home buyers, counseling along those lines, and a whole host of other stuff. So whether it's looking to partner with the community board, maybe down the road, to be a tax prep site where we could have some of our staff go in there and offer it right in the board office when COVID is not knocking at our door, or working with you guys to partner to come up with some sort of presentation schedule or agenda of things that we can come to the community board or set up one-off meetings to bring some of this programming to. And if you guys have any questions about or ideas on how we could cooperate, whether it's setting up free financial coaching any of that other stuff. I know some of you mentioned perusing our website. So if you guys have any questions, now that I've spoken for a little bit, you guys know a little bit about what we're doing. I'd love to hear your feedback and how you think we can work together.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much for that. Let me ask you a question, Dan.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm a single mother and basically I have 2 kids. And I want to basically come in and find out what you can do for me as far as the free services. How would I go about doing that?
Well, you could contact, through our website, but if they went to you and you were like, let me put you in touch with Dan and came and spoke at our community board meeting. So you can pass along I'll give you my email, I put my phone number in the chat. And, one of the simplest things we could do is put them in touch with one of our financial counselors. It's free, and be able to go over, budgeting tips, make sure that they are, and then if it's around tax time, make sure they're getting their taxes done correctly and they're getting their, the childhood tax credit, making sure that they're making the most out of their dependents and their returns. If the single mother is interested in perhaps purchasing a home, to look at our first time home buying program. So finding a little bit about, the situation that they're dealing with, and going from there. But yeah, I think given that situation, we'd be, eager to be able to connect with that person and sort of help them, build up some financial confidence, to be able to start, moving in the right direction if they felt like they've been, stagnant or struggling a little bit.
So what are all the services you have that are currently for free that I could actually access? I mean, it's like a one-stop situation, or would I have to basically look at your website and then basically go through each one of the items on my own and then come to you? I mean, if I didn't know anything about the website or anything else, how would I go about finding out what services you have? Or what is it? The only way I can do it is by going to the website itself.
I think the website's a great place to direct folks to, but the sort of the a la carte thing that I say is our free tax preparation is sort of our bread and butter. We also do free financial coaching, financial counseling, estate planning, end of life care, helping folks set up medical proxies, living wills, helping people make sure that they, maintain their assets. And then I know I'm forgetting one, the home ownership, things like that, whether it's foreclosure counseling or first time home buyers, or making sure that they're getting the most equity out of their assets. So free financial coaching, home buyer education, low cost legal services, free tax prep, estate planning, financial coaching, sort of the gamut. But yeah, having people either reach out directly or visit the website would be a great way to at least start that conversation on a one-to-one basis. And like I said, I've sort of been cold calling senior citizen centers all over New York City and just explaining to them what Grow Brooklyn is and talking to them about these, the types of programming we can bring. Like I said, I've got 4 or 5 on the books this month, but you guys having your ear to the ground in the community board, if there's particular organizations that you think might want to, host or co-sponsor or, have a conversation. We've got one coming up with the freelancers union. We've got a presentation for tax tips for freelancers. Their returns are a little bit more complicated, and being able to, we're partnering with the freelancers union directly, but being able to let you guys know and advertise that if there are other folks that are interested, feel like they fall into this category, might not be a part of the union, could still benefit from it. So we're trying to, be as creative and thoughtful in our both approach and content as people try to navigate these crazy times.
Yes, Tia just actually put the link for that in the chat. So that would be definitely something that a lot of people are currently probably wanting to use. The one thing I want to ask you, just out of curiosity, I'm not sure, you were talking about the foreclosures. Is that a free service or is that a paid service?
A free service for
service?
foreclosure counseling. Yeah, we have grants to fund a lot of that. There's certain like income specific requirements and stuff like that, but yeah, definitely the goal
Just
is
out of curiosity, are you seeing a lot of that right now?
well, see, here's the tough thing, and why my idea was to sort of reach out to these community boards is Grow Brooklyn used to have a table at housing court in Kings County. So when people would come in and they felt like their back was up against the wall and they have any place to go, they would be able to come right up to us. But now with COVID, we're not having that foot traffic, that walk-in. So people that are struggling with this are just sort of isolated on their own. They might not be aware of this kind of relief. So whereas it used to be a free service that folks used to have to walk by, now, we're, having to go out into the city and find folks that are still struggling with this. And I know the eviction moratorium, all of that stuff has slowed things down, but the housing court is starting to pick back up again. And, folks will start to have, whether it's student loans or some of these other debt that might have been on pause, come due. And, if it's a great place just to start to make a plan to have that conversation, even if it's not something that we can directly help with. We've got somebody who's really great at being able to look at the income and help make a budget and at least put you in a plan together and help get you the right action items to look at, whether it's how to improve your credit or something along those lines that is a little bit more simple or more complicated, like working directly with the loan, the bank put the loan out on the house that's mediating that. So we have lawyers and attorneys that'll be able to handle that for them too, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, let's go to the committee. Cyril, I see you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. It's a great service. I think it's something that everyone needs in some way or another. I had a question about your communications. I know in a COVID-free world, many people, it's hard to believe, but there are many people who do not have, are not connected to the social media. And in their economic group, they don't have computers or laptops or things like that. How have you communicated to these people the breadth of your services? And also my other question is, I know you do things with the senior citizens. You said you visit them. I'm wondering if you would be more interested also in directing some of your services to young, maybe college students or people who are just getting out of college, who are not familiar with any of these issues, and maybe help them in their way of trying to get loans or credit cards or things like that. Do you do that kind of stuff?
So the first question is one that I'm still looking to reform. Coming into Grow Brooklyn was at the end of November is when I came on board. So I am looking to expand the way that they communicate with the public, because it was typically just social media. And when I talked about, reaching out to all the community boards in Brooklyn, they were like, "Oh, that's a great idea." I was like, "All right, well, I'm glad, at least we'll get started on it." And the same thing with the senior citizens. They talked about this estate planning. It's like, oh, well, there's like 150 senior citizen centers in New York City. Like, how many of them have you worked with before? They're like 3 or 4. I was like, okay, well, these are great places to start. But to your point, one of the things that I started advertising is the call-in numbers for our Zooms and our webinars, the conference call numbers. How it was set up before is you would have to register for the Zoom, and then it would send you an email with the link to join, like we did today, and then numbers to call in. But if you couldn't click and register in that first link, you were never going to get the dial-in number or the password or the PIN. So I've started removing that step and we put that right on the flyer. So if you're more comfortable dialing in to listen to the information, we want to make it available that way. I think it also, an element there is language barriers, and we do have access to a lot of translation services. So for partnering for an event where we think there'll be a particular audience that needs it delivered in a certain fashion to communicate with that. And then the second point you made was connecting with young people. That would be tremendous. So if we wanted to have a community board sponsored webinar presentation with like particular high schools or college groups or something like that to connect us with that audience, or suggestions of who we could partner with directly, whether it's like you mentioned, just like basic budgeting, it's responsible credit card use, credit, how that impacts you later in life, even boring stuff like retirement and pensions and things like that they might not be eager to hear about, but vital information to get in front of them. So yeah, that's the type of creative ideas that I wanted to come to you guys and see if we have access to those populations. Then yeah, we definitely want to find ways to get this information and serve them.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Cyril?
I was, the idea with visiting colleges and speaking to college students, or to their clubs, or getting involved in college orientation. All the colleges have orientations, and maybe your organization could put your flyers there and have them participate in some of that. That it's all over the place. In my experience, many of our colleges are first generation students, and they're really not. They have no idea in many cases about credit line and things like that. I think you would be doing a great service to the young population in the colleges. I'm going to keep your website, and I may be contacting you to do some more work with that.
Yeah, that look forward to cooperating on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scal. Ms. Yearwood Young. Yes, Ms. Yearwood Young, can you hear me?
Hey, sorry, I'm having a little delay, so I didn't hear you at first. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Dan, for the presentation. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm a financial advisor, so I think this is really important. I'd love to chat with you as well further about volunteer opportunities and stuff, because I had a couple of thoughts on because I've done some volunteering in the area. One group, and I bring them up a lot, is Brooklyn Workforce Innovations, which is under the Fifth Avenue Committee sort of umbrella. I've done some financial capability training for them. And I think you guys could be great partners for them, because they're always looking for people who don't have necessarily an ulterior profit motive. A lot of like banks want to come in and give them financial training, but then, lo and behold, there's some great accounts and products they have. And I do think another really, I don't know if you guys have been in touch, but when I think of our district, like 3 NYCHA, housing communities, I think that that's an area where maybe, not the home ownership aspect and those stuff, but I think a lot of the sort of financial coaching, debt management, it feels like that would be an area that I think that they could benefit greatly from the kind of stuff that you guys are doing.
I was just double checking bit of learning curve, but yeah, so I wanted to make sure that the Fifth Avenue Committee is one of our partners for free tax preparation. So we do work with them to refer folks in that end. I'm glad you mentioned volunteer opportunities, because I wanted to mention this too. We're actually hiring, particularly folks that are bilingual Spanish, for part-time positions. We pay like $19 an hour, that are on either the Lower East Side or in Brooklyn, to help be the intake person at our free tax preparation site. So COVID, that might throw a monkey wrench in all of these things, but to help people come in and make sure their documents are okay and so on. So if Kate, my email address is dan@growbrooklyn.org. It's very easy, but I can reply with the job descriptions for like the 4 or 5 positions that we've got. I can send them to the rest of the board too, if anybody's interested. And if you know folks that, speak Spanish and might be interested in some part-time work, and then, I can connect you with the director of our free tax preparation program. And there's some volunteer opportunities. Kate, I'd love to bring you on board. They actually were asking me. I sent over a couple of resumes today, and I came to the community board meeting. I was like, I'm going to ask them for their resumes too, because I'm sure they know people who might be looking for work right now. And it'll only go from like February to April, because it's like tax time. So it's like sort of, not a long-term commitment if people aren't necessarily looking for that, but a good opportunity nonetheless.
Definitely. My other question was, do you help people with I'd say like government benefits? Like a lot of it sounded like a lot of your services were for people who maybe had a little bit more financial footing, a little more of an asset base, versus like, are you working with a population that is really, still working to get to that sort of financial level?
Yeah, I think sort of the more baseline social services that the city provides, cash assistance, SNAP benefits, things like that, definitely be part of the conversation if that individual was coming to one of our financial counselors. So for example, we're having one of the estate planning and end of life care and healthcare proxies and all of that stuff is going to be at the all right, so Glenwood Senior Center, which is a public housing development here in Brooklyn. So we're not going to talk about homeownership and that type of stuff, but we are going to touch on how to make sure that you have succession rights to your family's apartment, because making sure and the grievance process, if in fact management decides to act in a way that they shouldn't be, and things like that. So yeah, whether it's particular application or access to healthcare or any of those things that that's why I left working in government, because these senior citizens would come in and they'd show me their pension, and it's like, I can get you signed up for $190 worth of food stamps and here's the Medicaid application, but we don't have a lot of long-term solutions here ready to go for these folks. So I decided to resign and sort of stir up a little bit more ruckus to try to get closer to that. And so I'm happy that Brooklyn is helping to try to fill in those lines a little bit where we can.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Dan, could you just do me a favor too? Two things. If you have a calendar of events, it would be nice if we could get it here to the borough office. And also, if you could give us the job descriptions that you have available at your.
Yeah, I'll send all the I think there's 4 positions. With one of them being a tax preparer. People will probably need a little bit of experience for that one, but a lot of them are ready to train jobs. So yeah, I'll send those out to the board. And right now, I wish I had a more comprehensive list. I've got 4 webinars scheduled at senior centers over the month of January, but I'll definitely give you guys access to that, including the conference call number and things like that, so people in your community have the ability to join in remotely. So I think we're going to actually try to be there at the center, but we're going to be projecting the webinar from our lawyer who's someplace else, and then make it available, more widely available, excuse me. And now that I know you guys are interested, whenever we have stuff come up, I'll be able to make sure that you guys are looped in, and we don't leave you out of any of the stuff we have coming.
Yes, I was about to say, Dan, please keep us updated, not just for this January, but for each successive month. Okay, Ms. Peterson. Okay, I believe you had your hand raised. I missed you. I apologize.
Well, first I want to say thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to say greetings to everyone and Happy New Year. And I hope that everyone is staying safe and their families are staying safe as safe can be under the environment for which we're in. I just wanted to ask just a couple of questions. And first, I want to start out by saying that in generally, any information is good information, or any information that is presented or disseminated is always an educational track. You learn different things in different ways to try to get different things done. So I am a believer in that. However, my question is, the comment first is, as I was listening, in some good measure, a lot of what you're offering sounds like Impact Brooklyn, formerly Pratt Area Community Council, also a very competitive and strategic group organization, seem to have done a great job, within the community over the years. I'm not sure that you are familiar with them. And it sort of brought me back to what their goals are in that organization. But I would ask you, who is your funding source? Like, where does your organization get funding from, Dan?
All different places. So like our free tax preparation thing is through VITA, and the IRS do that, but we've got grants that we apply for to cover some of our other services. So we got a grant to help connect excluded workers with access to benefits that weren't eligible for traditional unemployment during COVID. So a particular grant helped helped pay for that. So it's between that and, like I said, we're the nonprofit arm of the Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union. So the relationship with that, is ongoing. And but yeah, so we don't have a private, it's not like JP Morgan Chase or something, back.
Well, whoever it is, I just curious.
No, for sure.
If it's them, then okay.
Yeah, but it's we work with the credit union and then public funding sources. So like I think it's like Brooklyn Gives is like a fundraising operation that kicks off around the holidays. So we did a push for that, and they matched like the first 5,000 we raised. So we got $10,000 from a little bit more than that from that organization that sort of goes in. So I'm pretty sure if you pull up the nonprofit records, all of the funding stuff's there, but that's generally how the
right.
money
But
comes out.
okay, do you get any government funding from state or local
I believe so.
funds through elected officials, or do
I
they
don't know
have
if they've got-
participatory budgeting or anything like
I don't
that?
know if they've gotten line items in like discretionary from council people in the past.
Mhm.
I think most of the work that they've done with elected officials is we do a lot of, like, their offices used to host a lot of our tax preparation stuff before COVID.
Mhm.
But no, I do believe that they've gotten some public money from, I think, the city and the state before over the course of like I said, since 2007. I know they've probably had, their hands in a few different.
So do you have an office location? I don't know if I missed that. Where are you located?
It's 315 Grove Street, and it's sort of the back end of the Brooklyn Credit Union. 315 Grove.
Grove, Grove?
Yep.
The only
We're
Grove
off-
Street I know is in Bushwick. Is that
Yes. That's it.
okay, in Bushwick? And so do you have attorneys within your organization?
Mhm.
Or you because some of the things that you talked about, I would imagine that
Mhm.
they would be necessary. And the last question is when was your organization established?
2007. And we do have a team of attorneys and certified financial counselors, and are able to tap a lot of the staff, loan officers and things from the credit union. So when we were talking about the things for the freelancers, sort of working a little bit more closely with the credit union on that one than I am the scam and fraud prevention, which is sort of a more in-house Grow Brooklyn operation. So there's some subtlety depending on what the issue is, who I'd speak to about it. But yeah, there's a whole team.
So was most of your clients did they come from out of the Bushwick area versus now you're looking to sort of broaden that client base? Would you say?
We've been actually I have to start saying we, but they have been doing work all over the city. It says Grow Brooklyn, which I think is sort of a little restrictive. But they've done work in Jackson Heights and places in Queens offering free tax preparation with the Lower East Side Credit Union. They are sort of the hub for that neck of the woods too, for this stuff.
Okay.
So we're looking to that's one of the things I'm hoping to do, is sort of expand them into the other boroughs. Like I mentioned, I've spent a lot of time in the Bronx, and after that Staten Island. So I want to see if we can't stretch some of this stuff out.
Okay, because I'm not really familiar with Grow Brooklyn, and so that's why I had a few questions. And so I thank you for your responses. I do have some others, but of course, time is always important, and other people want to have an opportunity to ask questions as well. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, and I'll just say before the next question that my job is outreach. So answering your guys' question, help you guys get more comfortable with Grow Brooklyn is sort of the name of the game. So I'm happy to connect offline even after this. You guys don't have to be shy. I cut my teeth in New York City talking to community board members. So I'm not,
Thank you.
I'm all about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
Bill?
you, Ms. Peterson.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Ms.
I didn't know-
Morales?
I knew you were still there. Sorry. Sorry.
Hello, thank you, Dan. That was a great presentation. I'm glad you're doing this work. I worked before my current job, 10 years with the senior citizen population, providing social services and understanding the challenges, right? Especially end of life and their estates. So thank you. I was just an idea in my current job. I do a little bit of everything, but one is focusing on seniors. And I'm currently working with different senior centers around bringing, like, I don't know if some of you know, Live On New York, that helps with like direct services, and was wondering, would love to follow up with you, maybe because I have a list of senior centers already, especially in this district, and would love to kind of compare notes if you need their contacts. And then wondering, have you reached out to public officials? To be transparent, outside of this, I'm not representing him, but I work for the state senator for the 25th district. Have you reached out to them or your organization to put in their newsletters? Because I feel like that's another way, especially for those who made with that digital divide, they really look forward to the newsletters, and maybe the public officials can put your organization's information there.
So I'll answer the first question, the second question first. Yes, I actually have reached out to all of the local state assembly, state senator, and city council people. And Senator Brisport is on our list. We've been going back and forth, so I can actually tell you, if you let me minimize here, and I can click around a little bit, or maybe I'll let you know who that I've been emailing back and forth with. But we're hoping to get a meeting on the books to actually use your office as one of our free tax prep locations, because the preceding senator was one of our partners, and we don't want the population there who would normally bring their taxes for free, think, oh no, on top of everything else, I had to go pay $1.50 to an HR block to get this done. And then for the senior centers, definitely, to whether it's with the senator you mentioned, help, so for the one at Glenwood, we're having Council Member Lewis co-sponsor to help get the word out about it, even though it's sort of a captive audience with the center, but also to have some constituent services people there too. So if an issue comes up and it isn't Grow Brooklyn related, we'd be able to have somebody there that could help them. So a similar setup with the senior center and Senator Brisport would be, outstanding, try to help these folks across a few different, categories.
Right. Great, thank you. Follow up.
Looking forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know who that is. Helping Hands Ministry.
Hi, good evening. My name is Carol Coleman Florestal. This is my first time attending a meeting for the board. So I thank you for the opportunity. I saw it in a newsletter and was really interested in the Grow Brooklyn information. So that's why I came out tonight. It's a fantastic presentation. I wanted to know if you work with faith-based organizations. Helping Hands, it's a faith-based social ministry, and our church is the Temple of Restoration. And we happen to have 3 churches just based in Brooklyn. We have churches in other boroughs as well as other states. And we have a program as part of our community outreach ministry called Abundant Living Tools. And we focus on 3 areas: personal finance, home ownership, and small business education. So when I heard you mention tax preparation, that's something we haven't done, but something I know that people in our church have a need for. And by practice, I'm an attorney, an investment management attorney. So I do have a financial background. So I'm using some of my professional background in this financial area with the ministry. So I would be interested in knowing more about that and what your requirements are to be.
Well, hold on 1 second. I was wondering if you had a question. Do you have a question for Dan specifically about the presentation he just gave?
Yeah, my question that I was in the middle of was what are the requirements to be a host site for tax preparation, and if he works with
Okay,
organizations.
yeah, what you can do is Dan has put his information in the chat. You might want to do this offline.
Yeah, that's
okay
what I was
with you,
gonna
Chuck?
say. Yeah, connect with me via email, and then I'll be able to set up a meeting and we can talk about a potential partnership. It's a lot to do with the locations, honestly, at this point, because we've got a half dozen of them set up. So depending on where places fall on the map right now, we want to make sure that we've got the right coverage. But as far as working with faith-based organizations, absolutely. And requirements is, they just have to be nice and and be willing to work with us. So we're easy that way.
Yeah, we're Durham Hill, and also we have a location in Flatbush. So 2 in Durham Hill, 1 in Flatbush. So we're close to both places.
Well, I look forward to connecting with you, and we'll hopefully be able to set that up.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And make sure you put your information in the chat so that Dan can actually see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions for Dan from committee members or board members or any of the individuals here presently, public members or public, whatever.
Bill, this is Burnell from Impact Brooklyn. So
Ah, Burnell.
Dan, good to meet you. I'm gonna put on my camera. Good to meet you, Dan. I don't think we've had the opportunity to meet before, but just overall, we have worked with the credit union. Definitely, because the credit union has been great in being able to provide mortgages that banks won't provide. So, really looking forward to continuing to work, and now that you're there, to have those partnerships. So, just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. I too am a resident of the district, but also run Impact Brooklyn. So just very interested in anything new and where we can have new partnerships. So really thankful for that. I didn't have other questions, but Bill, you had put in the chat if I wanted to make any kind of comments. So when the time comes, I will. Okay.
And Ms. Greer, I will definitely be looking forward to that. I just want to ask more questions of Dan, and then I'll leave the floor to you. Okay. Dan, is there anything that we can do for you, okay, as a community board that would help you out?
I think that just the suggestions and offers to follow up on this have been incredibly fruitful. So as those opportunities and thoughts continue to pop up in your mind, that would be great. And then I'd also like an opportunity to come present at maybe a full board meeting. I can work on my elevator speech to get it down to just a few minutes. So if there are folks there in the audience that might want to, connect on a more one-on-one personal basis, that, they'd be able to have it. But, this has been great. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the opportunity of hearing you. By the way, just to let you know, this has been recorded and will be on YouTube.
Great.
Okay, so you can actually perhaps use that as a method to get your information out also.
Oh, I will definitely be able to post this on our social media and maybe get you guys a few more views.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Dan. Okay, if you want to, you can stay a little while longer and we'll take it from there.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Greer, I'm looking for, oh, there you are. Burnell, Greer, if you wish to right now, could you give us an update on what's going on with Impact?
Well, again, thank you for this opportunity. Impact, we continue to do all of the things that we've been doing even pre-pandemic in terms of providing workshops, seminars, one-on-one counseling across the district and throughout, I'd say more central Brooklyn. As we looked at where we do our work, we spent some time really looking at strategic clarity. So when we moved from I think many of you know that we moved from 201 DeKalb Avenue to have now our central offices at 1000 Dean Street. That's between Classen and Franklin on Dean. And so we're in the building there on the 4th floor. We're in the same building as the Brooklyn Foundation. So, if you ever go to visit them, come up to the 4th floor and visit us. We are currently, we had started going back as a hybrid approach, trying to keep staff safe, but still being able to take care of our clients. And similar to what Dan had said, we find, being able to be in contact with people and doing the outreach, we have to be in a hybrid kind of situation because a lot of people don't have access to the internet. Still, a lot of things are paper-based. So really trying to work and make sure that that happens. We own a lot of buildings within the district. And what we found during the pandemic is that we didn't necessarily have all of our residents' email addresses or phone numbers. We have leases with names and apartments, and we're so used to papering whenever we need information or putting notices in buildings. So what Impact has done is that we've hired a tenant engagement staffer. We're also raising money to be able to enhance that department. so that we are able to be in direct communication, sending snail mail, as well as still visiting the buildings. We have been trying our best to make sure that especially our seniors are able to be supported. We were able to raise money to be able to give some, gift cards and things to help people, passing out protective gear, the mask and other things, and doing that all through the course of the year. Our focus very much has been also on eviction protections and managing on that. You all know too that we are a housing developer. So not in District 2, but over in Community Board 3, we have housing that's being developed. One is senior housing on Lexington Avenue. The other is supportive housing, and that's on Myrtle across from the Marcy projects. So we're working on that. And then we also have a third-party transfer building that's on Nostrand Avenue. And that's one, I know that TPT has been, a lot of controversy around the third-party transfer program, but the building that we have, it's 24 apartments, 3 commercial spaces. And the residents there are very excited about having their property renovated and continuing it as a long-term rental. So we continue to look for opportunities to develop properties and managing through. Just as a brief update, next to 40 Vanderbilt, which we own, which is supportive housing, you might be familiar that on Park Avenue, there is a new building that will be going up. It's not one that's Impact Brooklyn's property, but it's adjacent to ours. We are working on access agreements with the owner of that building to make sure that our building is safe, that there's rat control, and just other things that they have to do to make sure that that strip stays viable and is a complement to Navy Green, which I know that the community board really supported Navy Green in its development. Similar to Dan also, and I just want to add this, is that we are hiring. I think Dale Charles, who has worked with us in leading our economic development small business efforts. She's been hired now as the head of the Bedside Gateway bid. And so we have a vacancy for economic development. So we're looking for an economic development director. We also have used consultants for fundraising. So I'm also ready to hire a resource development manager. So we'll also get you job descriptions, coming through, but we continue to provide support. We got quite a few large grants this year from different foundations and supports. We're part of the Robin Hood Power Fund. We were also able to get the TD Bank Housing for Everyone grant. And with that, we still have some monies to pass through to community members that are in distress and need support. So we've helped with rent credits and some other things, across the district where possible. So, as we design this, more to come on overall supports. But we continue to do home ownership. We continue to do, the community organizing, and partnering where we can with groups like Dan's and others. So we're still here. I just want to let you know that. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Greer. I appreciate you, stepping forward and giving us some updates. Just out of curiosity, what's the biggest issue that you're currently seeing your tenants having right now?
We've actually been relatively fortunate. I was going to say in terms of paying rent, but that's, for us, it has not necessarily been the case because a lot of it is rent subsidy. I do find that it's more so people looking for housing and being able to find, really where there's a lot of people that want to buy property. And there's, where do you buy in Brooklyn? I know that the community board, that we are working with Gotham. As a matter of fact, we're looking to have a meeting with them on the home ownership front because they have that building that they're doing on St. Felix. I think that got through all of the approvals, but we want to make sure that the people in our district have a chance and to know and to be, counseled in regards to home ownership. So there are several people still looking for home ownership. We have people in the district that want to come back home and managing that. I should also say too, just overall affordable housing. We are about to also have a series of charrettes in regards to Brooklyn Speaks. I don't know, when you look at Atlantic Terminal and Pacific Park, I don't know how familiar or if the community board has been updated, but when you look at Atlantic Terminal years ago, 10, 15 years ago, when it was being developed, there were a lot of promises made to say that we would have affordable housing. There were supposed to be promises kept, and those promises have not been kept. So we have come together. We've reached out to Jabari, to Farah. We've got Joanne Simons. We've reached out to Kathy Holdschul. I think she's put us in contact with Catherine Garcia. And we're about to launch a series 4 Thursdays in a row, I think starting actually next week, providing updates on what's happening around Atlantic Terminal and Pacific Park, because there's development that's going on and it's not keeping the promises for people who had the eminent domain issues that were happening in the past and promised affordable housing. And even the affordable housing, the terms were up to 165% of AMI. People can't afford to live here. And, we need to make sure that our new elected officials are familiar with what happened 10 years ago when they were maybe teenagers, and getting them up to date. So we're trying to work to make sure that they're updated, and also, making sure that we have the affordable housing that's necessary, and I learned more of the term income targeted housing. So we want to make sure it gets to a lower income band. So, Bill, really, that's still the issue. There's other things that we don't necessarily work on, but we're concerned about, and that's more, again, the gun violence and things like that are happening. So we support other groups that are working on that, but that's a big issue, just in terms of crime and safety. We are working with the commercial corridor, so working with our small businesses and then making sure that they're able to survive. So we're looking, when we raise money for that, we try to pass as much as we can to the small businesses. And we've been helping women and Black and BIPOC businesses along Washington Avenue, the ones that occupy our spaces, and some more within Bed-Stuy, and helping them with rent payments and things like that.
Hey, Ms. Greer, that is phenomenal. Some of the information you presented to us, I think it might be a good idea to see if we can actually inform the entire board, because some of that information, especially with the downtown area, but most importantly around where you're basically seeing, Barclays. That's the best way of putting it, around Barclays, because there were a lot of promises made. I remember they were non-binding.
Yeah.
Yes. And
there was a victory in terms of one lawsuit, and for not building the affordable housing, there is a payment that's supposed to be made. But all of these agreements were made with Forest City Radnor. Right. And as we know, that has changed, over time. So we're trying to get the attention of the state, and to go back,
Well, if you could contact the board office, okay, and see if we can actually set something up so that the entire board can hear you, to get an update on what you're basically working on. I appreciate that, most definitely.
All righty, will do. I'm glad I hopped on tonight.
I'm glad too. And by the way, don't be surprised you get a invitation to come back and do a presentation Just for
Okay, that'll be fine. All right, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, I had one question, if you don't mind.
Sure, Cheryl.
Ms. Guerra, yeah, that's a fast, your presentation is phenomenal. What your organization does is very impressive. I just had one quick question. Who would you say your clients are in general? Are there any young couples, young people, older people? How do you go through the actual age groups of people who participate in what you offer?
Well, when we've looked at sort of the demographic of our group, I'd say that the age ranges sort of from 25 up to 85, because we do a lot with, people have aged in place in our buildings. We find, again, in terms of income level, ranging from low to middle income. We have 2 supportive housing facilities, so we have people pretty much with no income that we do support. One of our facilities is for people living with HIV. So, we've been supporting them for years, and that's doing very well. We're at the point where some people are now able to move into permanent housing and don't have to live in supportive housing any longer. So we're really excited about that. But yeah,
The
I could
idea of having
keep
them
on
move
talking,
out-
so you guys have to stop
No,
me.
I understand that. Having them be able to move out and get into other housing that's very gratifying. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. This is Cheryl. With that, okay, we'll now move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, and that's the chairperson's report. Before I do the chairperson's report, Ms. Einhorn, did you have any information you would like to also share with the committee in regards to the unemployment and business data updates? And if in fact you've actually done any research on that? Lindsay, are you there? I think Lindsay is only listening. There she is.
I couldn't get off mute. No, I don't have any updated data from last time, but thank you.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, I gave a quick report about the November numbers. Currently, right now, the unemployment rate for Kings County has dropped down to 8.2% as of November. I want to take a little deeper dive into that and actually look at the actual details and the actual see which demographics are actually being affected by that. In addition, one of the things that this committee has actually focused on is the city statement of needs. And currently right now, the annual citywide statement of needs for fiscal years 2023 to 2024, they're now open for comments. The comment period will begin from January 1st, 2022 and ends on April 1st, 2022. So I just want to make people aware of that. There's also currently right now a resource that we can actually reach out to, which is with city planning, and that's the NYC Facilities Explorer. That's something we might want to take a look at. And basically what we're looking for is we can download data from there. I believe there's about 36,000 city, state, and federal not-for-profit health, social services, public safety, education, recreational, tradition, and waste management facilities that we can tap into, take a look at it, and actually see if we can actually look at any of those things and see if this is something that we can do outreach to for our district statement of needs. I would like to also begin the planning for having the different bids coming to the committee once again, and let us give a quick 3-minute report or 5-minute report on what's going on in their districts like we did last year. I think that was very helpful and helped us craft a very good district statement of needs going forward. And that's something I will reach out to the board office and take a look at. I am very proud of this committee. We got a lot accomplished last year despite circumstances and COVID, and I'm looking forward to us doing even more this year. So I just want to say this is Happy New Year. Let's keep up the good work. Let's keep involved. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, just reach out to me and let me know. Ms. Morales, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just a quick question on the unemployment rates. Are they basing that off of like people got off of unemployment and because they found another job, Or is it because people were just like, they used up their unemployment, their 6 months passed, right? I'm just trying to see if it's like because people are actually working or they're just still unemployed and not eligible for benefits.
Yes, I understand exactly what you're talking about. A lot of times people just stop looking, or like you said before, their benefits have run out. So what I want to do basically is take a deeper dive into this information and basically be able to report back the exact details of what's going on, whether or not people are actually finding jobs or have given up or basically have fallen off the rolls because they are no longer eligible for unemployment benefits. So I want to take a look at that. And I also want to see which individuals are being affected because as we all know, certain categories are affected more than other categories. And I want to see what the comparisons are.
Hey, Bill, I can speak to how the number is gained though. The unemployment numbers is based on filings. So when you file for unemployment, that's the percentage raised is the number of new people filing within that 30-day period.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, with that, okay, that's my chairperson's report. Okay, the next item on the agenda is other committee business. Is there any other committee business that anyone would like to bring up? Okay, is there a wish list that the committee would like to have as far as presentations going forward? I presented a wish list from last year to the board office, and currently we're ticking them off and we're starting to run out. So is there anything else that people would like to have addressed here as far as the presentation?
Bill, this is Kate. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Kate.
I'm curious about our conversations we've had in the last meeting or two about ways to schedule our bid conversation for next year as kind of an annual event and how we time that according to the board office's kind of recommendation for when is best to get that information. So just to flag that conversation that we've had, that we want to kind of be intentional on the calendar with those bids and with nonprofits as well, which I think Lindsay might have mentioned last time as kind of speakers or planned speaking, whether that's first quarter or later. Definitely would love to lean in there.
Yeah, Kate, I would like to talk to you and Lindsay about what we did last year. Okay, because we did do that last year, and I want to see how we are. What would be, based on what we did last year, what do you think would be best to do for this year as far as setting things up? Since you guys worked on it last year.
I think that sounds great. I feel like if we reinvite obviously those same participants and really just a question of scheduling, like when is best. I think we might have talked about this in late winter, but kind of when is best for them to hear from us, and that we should have kind of our own questions prepared for them ahead of time, so we can chat on the side about that.
Yes, that'd be fine. Thank you, Kate. Ms. Sherwood Young, are you now available to do service again? Because I know you were preoccupied.
Sorry?
Are you available to do service again?
So I'm actually expecting another baby in March.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm a little preoccupied, and actually we're just all the current my 2-year-old and my husband and I are all just getting over COVID, so it's been exciting. But no, I was actually thinking to myself, like, the job employment resource fair. We haven't talked about that in a while, and I was kind of like, where are we on that? And obviously an in-person thing right now is, I do think if we want to do something along those lines, I'd love to, even in the spring, like May or June, we should be like getting back on track planning.
Not a problem. And I'm sorry about putting you on the spot like that.
Oh, no worries. It was funny because I was like, without seeing anyone, I'm like, I kind of forgot that no one knows I'm having a baby in like 2.5 months. But yeah, so I'll be a little out of commission, but I do want to stay,
Stay active.
Stay
By all means,
involved.
yes. Okay, well, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Miss Einhorn, you have your hand raised.
Well, first of all, Kate, Mazel Tov, that's very exciting.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Second of all, I wanted to let the committee know that the HES committee is now going to do a health fair in the spring. And so it might be a good opportunity to do a partnership and do some cross promotion. And I mentioned that at the HES committee as well, but maybe whoever's taking the lead on this should reach out to them as well.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. I will talk to the chair and see what we can do about that. Both the board chair and also the committee chair. Okay, anything else? Okay, community forum. This is where the community actually has an opportunity to basically speak about anything of interest that they have. Helping Hands, if you would like to tell us a little bit about yourself, this is the opportunity to do so.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we're a faith-based social ministry. Our church is the Temple of Restoration. Our main location is the Durham Hill, 490 Pacific Street. Our ministry focuses on different areas of a holistic life, faith, family, finances, and we also focus on health. And we also do some community programs just to show hospitality in the community. We've hosted health fairs. We host mammogram screenings twice per year. We're working on a men's health event for June for Men's Health Month, and sort of building out our financial literacy programming for 2022. We also have an internship program with one of the CUNY schools in Brooklyn, and work with 9 college interns to deliver our community impact programming in the area. So we focus on, we also have a marriage small group, a single small group. So we sort of look at the whole person in alignment with what we teach spiritually at our church, and seek to make change. We also do food distribution every Thursday at our church. We offer food for approximately 1,500 people per week at our location at 490 Pacific Street in Brooklyn. We also have a location at 515 Dean Street, as well as a location on Snyder Avenue in Brooklyn, as well as locations in other boroughs and outside of the globe. So we, I think someone posted the website there in the chat, and I put my email and my phone number there if anyone would like to reach out. We're always looking to partner. Our model is to work with existing community organizations. We do not have the expertise or the bandwidth to deliver the type of programming that I mentioned. So we work with partners within the community to do that, so that they're really interested to hear what's happening here today and to get connected. We have resources, we have space, and so we're also available to help with some of the initiatives some of the other groups in the community may be working on. My name is Carol Coleman Florestal. I'm an attorney by practice, and really excited to get connected here today. And I hope to hear and speak with some of you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you very much for attending the meeting and giving us that information. If you wish, you can contact the board office to do some outreach to me, and maybe this is something that we can actually have a presentation at this committee later on, if that's possible. But we'll take a look at what you're actually doing and see if it's a good fit for our committee. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
Happy New Year to you too. Okay. Anyone else from the community? Okay. If there's nothing else, okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's from Ron. Mr. Cohen, second.
Yes.
I didn't get a second. Who's the second? I'm sorry.
Second.
Kate. Okay, Kate Yearwood Young. Okay, excellent. Okay, all in favor? Beautiful.
Aye.
Okay, Happy New Year to everyone here.
Happy
Okay,
New
it's
Year.
good seeing you all. Kate, finally got her camera
See you
on.
guys.
Happy New Year.
Just gotta